At the break of dawn, Samuel Crawford stood on the weathered porch of his sprawling Texas homestead, eyes fixed on the endless horizon. The morning breeze carried the scent of parched soil, and his heart pulsed with cautious optimism. Today was meant to end his solitude. After months of exchanged letters and heartfelt promises, Margaret Williams, his mail-order bride, was set to arrive, bringing light to his lonely existence. He'd sent her train fare, painted a picture of their modest but earnest life together, and allowed himself to hope for a fresh start. Yet as the sun rose higher, the dusty trail revealed not the woman he'd envisioned, but a rickety wagon, its wheels kicking up clouds of crimson earth, carrying a truth that would unravel all his plans. Samuel adjusted his worn shirt, the finest he owned, and smoothed his tangled, dark hair. 5 years of grief had hollowed him out, the loss of his family and a tragic fire carving deep wounds in his spirit. The ranch, once a beacon of hope, had become a cage of isolation. Margaret was meant to be his redemption, a companion to share the trials of this rugged land. But as the wagon approached, his optimism wavered. The driver wasn't a refined lady from St. Louis, but Pete Morrison, a grizzled townsman, his weathered face etched with a troubling expression. "Pete!" Samuel called, stepping forward, his boots scraping the dry earth. "Where's Miss Williams?" Pete dismounted slowly, avoiding Samuel's gaze. "She's not coming. Sam, what a banker in St. Louis last week. Sent this instead." Samuel's pulse quickened, a mix of dread and bewilderment. "Sent what?" Pete moved to the wagon's rear and lifted a tattered canvas. 7 children sat huddled together, like startled creatures. The eldest was perhaps 12, the youngest barely 4. Their clothes were threadbare, their faces smudged with grime and marked by fear. Their wide, haunted eyes locked onto Samuel, bearing a burden of pain that stole his breath. "What's this?" Samuel's voice was low, tinged with anger. Pete handed him a crumpled note. "Found him at the station with this. Says they're yours now." Samuel's hands trembled as he unfolded the paper. The handwriting was unfamiliar, the words stark. "Mr. Crawford, these children need a home. You wanted a family. Here they are. Don't look for me." The children stared, silent, their bodies rigid as if bracing for harm. The oldest boy clutched a small blonde girl tightly, her hair tangled, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. Their frail form spoke of hunger and deeper wounds. "I can't take 7 kids," Samuel said, his voice breaking under the weight of the realization. "I don't know how to raise children. I was expecting a wife, not a whole orphanage." Pete scratched his rough chin. "They're here, Sam. Someone paid good money for their ride. Said you'd handle it." Samuel looked from the children to the note, then back again. The silence was thick, an impassable divide. The blonde girl let out a faint whimper, the sound slicing through Samuel like a knife. He thought of his own family, lost to flames 5 years prior, of nights drowned in whiskey, of the void that clung to him like dust. But 7 children? He was a broken man. How could he mend 7 broken lives? Then he noticed the oldest boy's hands, marked with fresh, raw scars, and his eyes, heavy with a fear no child should know. For 3 hours, the children stayed mute. Samuel tried everything. Soft questions, offers of water, even a clumsy attempt at warmth. But they sat on the porch steps, still as statues, their fear tangible. "Listen," Samuel said, kneeling to their level, his knees creaking. "I need your names, where you're from." The oldest boy tightened his hold on the others, his scarred hands quivering slightly. The blonde girl's eyes were vacant, her tears exhausted. Samuel's frustration mounted. He had cattle to tend, fences to repair, a life unprepared for 7 silent orphans. "I'm taking you to town," he said, standing. "There's an orphanage there. They'll know what to do." The oldest boy's voice, faint but firm, halted him. "No. Please, mister, don't send us back. They'll find us." "Who?" Samuel asked, dropping to his knees again. The boy's lips clamped shut, his eyes darting warily. Samuel looked closer. These children weren't just starved. They were hunted. Their flinches at every sound, their constant alertness, the way they scanned every direction. They were running from something horrific. Against his better judgment, Samuel led them inside. His small home felt suffocating with 7 new souls. They clustered in the kitchen corner, eyes tracking his every move as he rummaged for food. As he heated beans and cornbread, Samuel's mind raced. Who had sent these children and why? He'd never mentioned wanting children in his letters to Margaret. The blonde girl tugged his sleeve, pointing to her mouth, then her stomach. Hungry. It was a need he could address, at least. As they ate, Samuel noticed chilling details. The second oldest boy, about 10, bore rope burns on his wrists. A dark-haired girl flinched at his quick movements. They devoured the food as if it might disappear. Lord above, Samuel muttered. What happened to you? The oldest boy met his gaze. You gonna hurt us? The words hit Samuel like a fist. No, I won't hurt you. The last man said that. The boy whispered, fear darkening his eyes. Samuel's hands clenched. What man? The boy fell silent, terror resurfacing. As dusk settled, a sound froze Samuel's heart. Hoofbeats, multiple horses closing in fast. The children stiffened, then scrambled up, panic in their eyes. Hide us, the oldest boy pleaded. If they find us, they'll kill us. Samuel peered out the window. 4 riders, armed and menacing, approached. The leader, a wiry man in a black hat with cold, dead eyes, dismounted with a predator's grace. Samuel grabbed his rifle. Cellar. Now. The children darted to the trapdoor, their movements frantic. Samuel stepped onto the porch, rifle in hand. The leader spoke. Crawford, name's Jessup. Looking for property my boss owns. Don't know what you're talking about, Samuel said. Jessup's smile was icy. 7 kids. Runaway workers. Headed here. Workers. Samuel's stomach churned. They're children. Children who earn their keep. Valuable. Jessup spat. Easy or hard, Crawford? Your choice. Samuel's mind reeled. Slavery in 1885? No kids here, he lied. Jessup signaled his men, who began circling the house. We tracked him here. My boss don't take kindly to thieves. They're not property. They're people. Do what I say, Jessup snarled, hand on his pistol. They're leaving with me, dead or alive. A scream rang out from behind the house. A bounty hunter shouted, Found him! In a hole. Jessup grinned. That's that. The oldest boy burst onto porch, tears streaming. They got Emma, the little ones. A hunter dragged the blonde girl, Emma, by her arm. She fought helpless. Let her go, Samuel growled, aiming. Not happening, Jessup said, his gun on Samuel. Nobody steals from Ezra Blackwood. Samuel knew the name, Ezra Blackwood, a dark force in Texas, running mines in camps where people vanished. Put the rifle down, Jessup said, or this girl suffers on her way back to mines. Emma's cries echoed Samuel's lost daughter. Fury surged. His rifle fired, striking Jessup's man in the shoulder. Emma ran to the oldest boy. Wrong choice, Crawford, Jessup yelled, diving behind the trough. Bullets flew. Samuel ducked behind the porch railing, with splintering. 6 more in the cellar. The oldest boy shouted, They'll die if we don't do something. Your name, boy, Samuel called. Tommy Harris. You shoot. Yes, sir. Hunted for the camps. Samuel slid his pistol over. Side window. Guard the cellar. Tommy took the gun, steady despite his youth. Gunfire erupted again. Samuel counted. Jessup was reloading. He charged, knocking Jessup out with his rifle butt, but the others closed in. Tommy's shot hit one in the leg. Behind you, Tommy warned. Samuel spun, firing as another hunter appeared. The man fell, but Samuel's ribs burned from a graze. Bleeding, low on ammunition, he heard cries from the cellar. The 4th hunter was near the barn, circling. Tommy, see the barn? Samuel shouted. Yes. Man's behind it, heading for the cellar. More hoofbeats, 6 new riders, Blackwood's men. Jessup, awake, grinned through blood. Blackwood's boys. You're finished, Crawford. Kids go back to the mines. Samuel looked at Tommy. thought of the children in the cellar, and made his choice. "Tommy, get them to the barn. I'll hold them." He took cover behind a wagon, firing as the riders charged. His vision blurred. A bullet grazed his arm. Then a bugle sounded. Steady hoofbeats from the north. 20 cavalry soldiers in blue stormed in, overpowering Blackwood's men. The captain approached. "Samuel Crawford?" Samuel nodded. "How'd you know?" "Telegram. Said you need help with kids." He handed Samuel a letter. "This explains." Samuel recognized Margaret's handwriting. "Dear Samuel, I couldn't be your wife. I found Blackwood's child slaves. These 7 needed saving. I trusted you to protect them while I worked with the army. Cavalry comes if I don't signal. Sorry for the deception. Give them a family. Margaret, Tommy, with the others, overheard. She saved us." Samuel nodded, reeling. Margaret had used him, but for a purpose. The captain said, "Miss Williams's evidence. These kids were bound for Colorado, lost forever." Samuel studied them. Tommy, Emma, the boy with rope burns, Sarah the quiet one, twins Jake and Jim, another scarred boy. "What now?" he asked. "Your call," the captain said. "They're free, but need a home." "Tommy, what do you want?" Samuel asked. "Stay together." Tommy said, "They split families at the camps. We swore we wouldn't." "All 7. "Yes." Samuel thought of his empty life, watching Tommy comfort Emma. He felt purpose. "You stay," he said, "but you'll work, learn, be a family." Emma smiled. "You are Daddy?" Samuel knelt. "Yes, darling." The captain mentioned Margaret's bank account. Samuel refused. "They're not a burden. They're a chance." As the cavalry rounded up Jessup's men, Samuel showed the children the ranch. The twins chased chickens. The scar boy examined tools. Sarah gazed at the horizon. Tommy named them. Emma, animal lover. Jake and Jim, sturdy. Sarah, sharp-minded. That night, Samuel saw his house was too small, his resources thin. But the children sharing food showed resilience. They'd endured horrors. They needed safety, not perfection. "Tomorrow," Samuel said, "we build. More rooms, bigger kitchen, a schoolhouse. It'll be tough, but we'll make it right." Tommy grinned. "Forever, forever," Samuel said. His home, once barren, now pulsed with potential.